What's up, everyone, and welcome back. This is Dr. Carlos Reyes. Now, with the season in full swing, now we're going to be expecting and anticipating some injuries that are going to be plaguing some of these individuals throughout the season. And unfortunately, it is part of the game. Each injury is unique to each player. Each return to play timeline is going to be dependent on what significant injury transpired, what's the severity of it, and then what is kind of their return to play strategies from these things. From the initial week of the NFL games, we saw injuries such as hamstring strains, knee injuries, and then a significant injury to a thumb. More particularly to Dak Prescott of your Dallas Cowboys. On Sunday's game against the Tampa Bay Bucks, and late in the game itself, one of the drives, Dak Prescott was throwing the ball, and when throwing the ball, the individual's Prescott's thumb hit the Buccaneers player, and when he did that, he smashed that thumb right into that player's hand. And when the player's hand hit the thumb, the hand kind of pulled that thumb backwards, thus creating some significant pain in that thumb. Later to find out with x-rays and consultation that the thumb was actually fractured. Now, from looking at the play itself and looking overall what transpired, he was able to go through a few plays after that, and then immediately came off to the field and stated that he could not grip the ball. That is a very common symptom, thus then because of that fracture, creating pain and the body's mechanism to protect that joint position. And so as now more details emerge, it is stated that he did have successful surgery on that thumb itself. More particularly because surgery was required, that fracture needed something to stabilize it. Now, the key thing would be to understand whether there was some ligament damage inside that thumb as well. We talked about earlier called the UCL. That UCL normally gets sprained or sometimes torn. There are no reports of that UCL being sprained or torn, but I can anticipate that that ligament is definitely injured as well, along with some significant structures that live in and around this thumb itself. You have your flexor muscles of the thumb that cause flexion, then you have extension and things to grip the ball as well. So that makes it very difficult for you to hold any type of object with force. And so, considering Dak Prescott's injury, this kind of condition really requires it to heal properly. So that can take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks for the bone to actually heal. Doesn't mean that he's just only going to do nothing within that time. He's actually going to be doing some sort of, we call isometric strengthening exercises, just in order to increase the activity and healing process of that thumb itself. Around weeks 3 and 4, he's going to start doing a little bit more kind of gripping activities. Weeks 4 to 6, and now we're going to be increasing the strength of that thumb. We're going to be using TheraBand. He's going to be using type of putties. It's going to be all different kinds of catches, different type of balancing, different type of pressures with weight bearing over the hand itself. And then now as we get into week 6 to 8, then it looks now more into sport specific training. So considering that it is just a fracture, it can take anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks for it to heal, and then another week or two to ramp up activity. So anticipate kind of 7 weeks to be more accurate to 8 weeks. Now, if there is reports of some sort of sprain in that thumb itself or some other damage to those ligaments, you can probably anticipate a little bit longer than that, more to 8 to 9 weeks, considering the injury itself. As more reports come out, the more accurate we're able to get on the timelines themselves. So make sure you stay up to date with us. We're going to try and give you as much information as possible as the season rolls along. But that's kind of Dak Prescott's injury. They're going to be looking for Cooper Rush to kind of take the reins now. We'll see if that ultimately, affects CeeDee Lamb's production and ultimately the offensive players of that scheme in Dallas Cowboys team. And so, as we continue to have more updates with Dak Prescott's injury, we'll continue to update them as well. But that's going to be doing it for your injury update. Make sure that you stay up to date with us for further injury news as more injuries happen throughout the season.